am a true-born Achill man. I was born in the village of Duibhir, not far from honest lonely glen, Crowhorn Mountain in lovely Keem. It's many's a good and happy day we spent in Keem together. That lovely slope at the Maiden Cove, where the land is a sport and play, and as we rushed to the strand below, oh, we fished there all the day. Where the sun sets behind that hill in that lovely bay of Keem. It's there I met this lovely girl. She went to America, but someday soon she'll return again to her old Duibhir home and make a rest among her friends at the bottom of Slieve Moor Hill. Sinead.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Great history about it, but there was this place out at the back here, this side of Slieve Moor Hill, O'Heen Nyad an Iller, the cove of the eagle's nest. O'Heen Nyad an Iller. And then I started reading a book called Caesar Otway, Rambles in Connaught, and he describes climbing to the top of Crowhorn and spotting a golden eagle. The eagle is I think the image of the eagle is would be very important for Achill, you know. Well, I can tell you that it was a man from the Gort called James E. Kane, and he had this song, The Isle of the Eagle. But it's a very interesting song, and it has, you say, where did it originate? That's the point. So I went in search of who might have written this, and I'm not absolutely positive, but what I was told that there was a lady who was a governess at Pike at Achill Sound who was supposed to have written that.
No.
It was an old song, and it's just carried on. Like, if it hadn't been for James E. Keane, this man sang it. I think it's great. It's a great song. I think it's a good song. Like, these songs, you know, they're too good to be left there. Like, they should be sung more.
Well, I learned that one.
At least you have it now.
Yeah, well, this is it, you know.
It's there. It won't be lost.
I love thee, eagle, farewell to thy mountains, with all their bright blossoms of purple and gold. No more shall I sit by your murmuring fountain, from their bold heights the Atlantic behold. How glorious to watch the proud billows ascending in towers of white foam o'er the dark island clear, or over Duibhir's proud precipice abending, to see them far down, shining lovely and fair. Now the flocks wander free o'er hill down its green highlands, where the blue winding sound meets the ocean again, and the clouds rest in crowns on that rock-girded island, like nature proclaiming them kings of the main. Oh, for some bard to sing of thy praises. I love romance with its wild fairy lore, for to weave the loose threads into heart-rending stories, in numbers sublime, round our own Grange moor. Dear glen of the oak, with its garden of roses, where the wild birds there sing and the breezes are mild, embosomed in mountains, thy beauty reposing, like a fairyland opening through mists of the wild. If the sunshine of genius around from afar to thy wild shore would flee, but for me has thy solitude charms more beguiling than if nature had named thee her star of the sea. Now thy peaks fade from view, but whatever may betide me, in memory oft by that wild shore I'll dwell. Now the hills close thee in, other scenes are before me. Beautiful Isle of the Eagle, farewell. Now the hills close thee in, other scenes are before me. Beautiful island of Achill, farewell.
ceist agus dúrúlumm gur a béisian an fá. Gur a feachtas arsúl, there was a campaign not to speak Irish to the children. And I asked a man like who would have been in this era. I asked him this question in 1985. How come that you didn't speak the language? And he said, the old people wouldn't speak it to us. And then he said, as an Augustine, a little, he added this little bit, and sure, what good would be in them speaking it to us when we wouldn't understand them?
Oh, Father dear, I oft times hear you speak of Erin's Isle. Her lofty scenes, her valleys green, and her mountains rude and wild. They say it is a lovely land, wherein a prince might dwell. Oh, why did you abandon it? Oh, the reason to me tell. Well, my son, I loved my native land with such energy and pride. But a blight came over all my crops, and my sheep and cattle died. Our rents and taxes were to pay, and I could not them redeem. And that's the cruel reason why I left old Skibbereen. It's well I do remember on one bleak November day, when the bailiff and the landlord came to drive us all away. He set our roof on fire with his cursed English spleen, and that's another reason why I left old Skibbereen. Son, you were only 2 years old, and so feeble was your frame. I could not leave you with my friends, for you bore your father's name. So I wrapped you in my coat the more, in the dead of the night unseen. Then I heaved a sigh, and I said goodbye to dear old Skibbereen. Your mother too, God rest her soul, lay on that snowy ground. She'd fainted in her anguishing, seeing the desolation round. And she never rose but passed away from this life to immortal dreams. And that's another reason why I left old Skibbereen. Ah, but Father dear, and the day will come when on vengeance we might call, when Irishmen both stout and tall, they rally unto our cause. I'd be the man to lead our band beneath one flag of green. Then loud and high we'd raise our cry, revenge for Skibbereen.
Because, you know, I was asked what Achill originally meant, and I said, oof, I don't know. So I asked, was it from the eagle on the cliffs of Crowhan?
Aquila.
Aquila.
Yeah, but I don't think that's right.
No.
There were two woods in Achill. Big wood in the bottom part of the island and another one in the top part. Okay. The two woods, I think, will be the most authentic. Okay. Do, you need two. O, Ro, Hel. 2 woods.
2 woods. Right.
After Aughram's great disaster, when in truth our foe was master, it was you who first plunged in and swam the Shannon's boiling surf. And through Slieve Bloom's dark passes, you led our gallow glasses, although those hungry Saxon wolves were howling for your blood. And as we crossed Tipperary, we rived the Clan O'Leary, and we drove a crack before us as their horsemen onward came. With our swords and spears we gored them, through flood and night we drove them. But Sean a dear a Ghleanna, we were worsted in the game. Long, long we kept the hillside, hard couched down by the rillside. Oh, the sturdy oak, her rugged boughs, our curtain overhead. The summer's blaze we laughed at, and the winter snows we scoffed at, and we trusted in our sharpened swords to win us daily bread. But the Dutchman's troops came round us, in fire and ball they bound us. They blazed the hills and valleys, till the very sky was flame. But our sharpened swords cut through them, in their very hearts we hewed them. But Sean O'Dear a Ghleanna, we were worsted in the game. So here's a health to yours and my king, oh, the sovereign to our liking, and to Sarsfield and the Eagle's flag, once more we'll take a chance. For the morning tide may find us across the seas and win us a place to stand and wield our brand among the sons of France. So as we part in sorrow, yet Sean O'Dear a chorra, our hopes are God save Ireland, all blessings on her name. May her sons be true when needed, may they never fail as we did. For Sean O'Dear a Ghleanna, we were worsted in the game.
huge industry, people from everywhere. I'm sure you have read the poem. The fellow who wrote the poem was Paddy Kelly. He wrote the song about 1954. In the year 54, it may well be remembered, when 50 shark fishermen landed in Keem. From Duibhir and Twig, from Duibhir and Solia, from all over Achill came some of those men. And he talks about the crew being assembled. On the 14th of April, the first shoal was sighted, 50 shark fishermen here in Keem.
There were 3 old gypsies came to our hall door. They came brave and boldly, oh, and this one sang high and the other sang low, and the other sang the Raggle, Taggle, Gypsy, oh. It was upstairs and downstairs the lady went, put on her suit of leather, oh, and it was the cry all around her door, she's away with the Raggle, Taggle, Gypsy, oh. It was late that night when the Lord came in, inquiring for his lady, oh, and the servant girl's reply to him was, she's away with the Raggle, Taggle, Gypsy, oh. Up in saddle for me milk-white steed, my big horse is not speedy, oh, and I will ride and I'll seek me bride, who's away with the Raggle, Taggle, Gypsy, oh. Oh, for you rode east, and he rode west. He rode north and south also, but when he rode to the wide open field, it was there that he spied his lady, oh. House or your land? Why did you leave your money, oh? Why did you leave your only wedded lord all for the Raggle, Taggle, Gypsy, oh? Ara, what do I care for me house or me land? What do I care for money, oh? What do I care for me only wedded lord? I'm away with the Raggle, Taggle, Gypsy, oh. It was just last night you'd the goose feather bed with blankets drawn so comely, oh. Tonight you lie in a wide open field in the arms of the Raggle, Taggle, Gypsy, oh. Yara, what do I care for me goose feather bed with blankets drawn so comely, oh. Tonight I lie in a wide open field in the arms of the Raggle, Taggle, Gypsy, oh. I rode west, you rode high and I rode low. I'd rather have the kiss of the yellow gypsy's lips than for all of the cash and money, oh. Oh, for you rode east when I rode west, you rode high and I rode low. I'd rather have the kiss of the yellow gypsy's lips than for all of the cash and money, oh.
I said, I want a pound, I'm going to go to that dance, the gun club. And it was a pound to go in. A pound was hard to get that time. A pound was a lot of money. I used to walk over as far as Crossroad, go the way down the Crossroad, and come back then, and I'd have missed the van, and I'd have to walk back all the way to Duibhir, and then get by tea, and walk to Keem and milk the cows and walk over again. We were fit, we were.
When you see these things growing,
Yeah, what are these?
they're some kind of class of wild rhubarb.
They're so big.
Yes, you could never use them.
No.
No. But if you came around here in 20 years ago, you'd see every place well trimmed up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah? The place has gone rough now for the last 10 years.
Why? Why?
Well, the people are not in it. You know, the young people are all gone.
Oh, yeah, sure.
An awful lot of them went over to Chicago and Cleveland.
Right.
Over from New York City and Chicago and all them places. All the Irish are mostly around there.
New York and Boston.
Yeah,
Eastern Seaboard, big cities.
that's right.
Right.
They lived around here too. Like see fellas now, young, they'll come back here to see where their mothers were reared and
That's
their
right.
fathers.